Your attention, please. Attention, please. Attention, please.
And now the moment we've been waiting for is here.
Shrav, welcome to the podcast, mate.
What's going on, Dan?
Good, bro.
Good, bro. How are you?
Yeah, I know. Are you a little bit nervous?
Yeah.
No, don't be nervous, man. Don't be nervous. I wanted to bring you onto the podcast, right? Because you and I met at Dominance.
Yeah.
And basically, I think, was it early last year, I learned you were a camera guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, do you want to go for a coffee? You can talk me through cameras.
Yeah.
And we ended up sitting for hours.
3 hours or something.
3 hours just geeking out about jiu-jitsu, about cameras, about content, about absolutely everything. Yeah. And then I've always said in the back of my head, I was like, that was such an easy conversation.
It was. Yeah.
So I was like, I've got to get me onto the pod. Got to get onto the pod.
Oh, I'm glad. Okay. Well, I was a bit worried because I'm like, I don't really know. I don't really have a lot to say. But after you like said it's just going to be like that coffee, I was like, that sounds kind of nice, actually.
Yeah. Except we don't actually have coffee, which I wish we should have brought coffees, actually. Next time. It would have been good.
Sit here with me.
I don't know. So, mate, last time I spoke to you, coffee, you were going to India.
Far out. Yeah,
it was a long time ago, right? So you've traveled the world a little bit since then.
A little bit. Yeah.
So tell me the route you did. So I remember you were like, taking a little bit of time away from Melbourne, and then you're like, right, I'm going to go do it. And you were going to India, and you were going to Goa?
Yeah.
Good memory, man. Wow. Memory. I got a memory. So tell me about it, man. How was it?
Dude, it was insane. So I'm from India, obviously. Like, my parents are from Bangalore, which is like in Karnataka. It's like South Central India. And like every time I've been to India, it's always just to see family and stuff. And this year, like I kind of stopped working full time, and I was just sort of like aimless almost. And my dad was like, "You should go to India, like just get away for a little bit."
Find yourself.
Honestly, yeah. Like when I was leaving, it was a bit cringe. It was a bit like eye rolly. I was like, oh god, it's some eat, pray, love shit. But like, honestly, it's kind of what it turned out to be. Like I went to like parts of India that I'm not from, that I've never been to, and I was also like by myself. I wasn't with my family or anything.
That's sick.
And yeah, like it was insane. Like experienced so much of India, like connected with my roots in like a really sort of profound way.
That's cool, man. That's cool.
Yeah, it was sick, and like came back pretty different. Like,
would you say you had a big personality shift whilst you were away?
Yeah.
And then when you did India, did you then do Europe as well?
I came back, and then I went to Europe after that. Yeah.
And where did you do in Europe?
I was in the UK for a while, like most of it really.
Yeah.
Did a festival, my first festival.
Which festival?
Boomtown.
I've never even heard of it.
Yeah, it's really?
Never heard of it. No.
It's like second to Glastonbury.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
Dude,
what kind
like
of
70,000 people, D&B.
Really?
Yeah,
like, that's what you like. This guy.
Yeah.
For those who can't hear, there's a DJ in the next room, absolutely blaring tunes.
So good.
Fair enough. So you did India, came back here, and then you did. And how long were you in Europe for?
I was like 5 to 6 weeks in both. Like five to 6 weeks in India, 5 to 6 weeks in
nice.
Europe. Yeah, I was in like mostly in the UK. I was in like London for a while, and then I went to like Worcester. Stayed with a really good friend, Hannah. What else did I do? And then I went to like Amsterdam and Spain, and
what did you think of Amsterdam? I did Amsterdam this summer as well. What did you think?
I think it's really good. I think it's a little bit overhyped, in my opinion. Like a little bit.
Yeah, I completely agree. How long were you there for?
3 days.
About similar time as me. 3 to 4 days.
3 to 4 days, yeah.
I don't know about you. There was definitely times, and maybe if people have like traveled to Amsterdam, they'll be like, dude, you just didn't do it right. But like, there was definitely moments where I was a bit like, all right, what do I do now? I don't know. Because it was like, obviously you've got the canals, then you've got the coffee shops, and then you can go do a few of the museums and stuff. But I remember first I remember thinking it was ludicrously expensive. Like, but like beyond normally expensive. I remember paying something like €8 for a coffee, which is like 17, like I think like 16 Australian dollars for a coffee. I was like, that doesn't even make sense.
No.
And then I remember feeling a little bit unsafe in places as well. I remember looking around going, this is kind of sketchy. But we were also near the red light district, which is also probably not like the most wholesome of places.
No,
where were you?
I actually don't know where it was. It was near the city central, like 10 minutes away from like where the station is. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. Like I did all the standard like Amsterdam stuff.
Yeah.
Like, just got really high a few times. Really and did you do mushrooms when you were there?
I didn't do mushrooms. I did a space cake thingy. I said to the dude who I bought it, I was like, look, man, how strong is this? And he went, you'll be on your way. And then it was like, looked like a Magnum ice cream.
Yeah.
And then I just ate the whole thing. I was with Alexi, and I ate pretty much 9/10 of this thing. He had a little bit, and I was on a different planet. Oh yeah, I was on.
Too much?
I mean, I wasn't like sick or anything.
Okay.
But I remember just being like, I was just laughing at absolutely anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alexi could have literally said, "Hey man, how's it going?" I would have
You'd
just
be,
been
like, on the floor.
Yeah. How about you did mushrooms there?
So like I thought mushrooms were illegal, but they like I'm probably butchering this and I probably don't really understand the laws there, but they have truffles.
Yeah.
Instead of mushrooms. You can't get mushrooms, at least I couldn't find any, but you can get truffles, which are like, they have the same psychoactive substances as mushrooms.
Yeah. Is that psilocybin?
Yeah. I think. I literally don't know.
I've been watching too much Rogan. That's
Yeah.
all. That's all I know about it. Yeah.
I'd never even heard of them, to be honest. And then I went there and I like told the guy, I'm like, look, I want to like go to a museum. I want to like, look at art, because I love going to galleries. Like,
Yeah.
it's like a big thing for me. Like when
That's
I travel,
cool.
I try and go to as many galleries as I can.
That's sick.
And yeah, he's like, yeah, like, take these on an empty stomach. It's good for like a 4-hour day trip. I'm like, oh, sweet. Yeah, that sounds good.
Empty stomach is mad.
Yeah.
Empty stomach's mad.
It was empty stomach plus 1 black coffee. That was it. Nothing. My system was empty.
Oh my
Clear.
god. Yeah.
Gobbled them down. And then like, I'm walking for like 30, 40 minutes. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm feeling it a little bit. I'm listening to music. I'm talking to my girlfriend. I feel really nice, feel good. And then it starts to get like really intense. I'm like, there's this one museum, I can't remember the name of the museum, but it's near, there's like this Van Gogh museum, and there's this huge like grass field in front of the Van Gogh museum. I'm not sure if you.
I think we may have walked around there. We didn't go into any of those museums.
Yeah.
But go on. So wow, you're just tripping balls.
Crap, bro. It got so intense. Like I was there, and I was like, I'm like tripping a little bit, but it's like nice. Like I'm like,
you're happy.
whatever.
It's yeah.
I'm comfortable with like psychedelics, and it's not a problem. But like there's like overcast, and I'm on the phone with my girlfriend, and she's like, oh, like what does the sky look like? And I'm like, oh yeah, the sky. I haven't even looked up. And I like look up. That was the worst mistake of my life, because I looked up, and the overcast clouds like flickered as if it was LED panels.
Oh no, that would freak me out.
I was like, okay, this is not good. And then it felt like I was in like a full flow simulation. I was like, it felt like I was in like a studio, like a massive studio.
And everything felt like very, like, I don't know what the word is, but like, yeah, everything felt fake almost.
Fake. Like it felt like everything that I was seeing was like a projection. Like
Yeah,
it
that's
wasn't
weird.
real.
Oh,
Like,
that's so weird.
It was fucked.
How long did it last for?
The guy said it was a gentle like day trip. It was not. It was 4 hours. Do you know what I did? I didn't go to a museum. I cannot interact with people.
Yeah, of
And like
course.
I was so grateful. My girlfriend was just like on call with me the entire time.
Oh,
It was like,
did she kind of guide you through the thing?
yeah,
Oh,
bro.
thank
She's
God.
never done that before, and it was like 4 a.m. in Melbourne. So
Oh,
she's just
what
like
a
on the
hero.
phone. She's oh my God, she saved me. If it wasn't for her, because she was like I lost like sort of it felt like I wasn't on the phone anymore. Like I felt like there was just a voice in my head, and that was her.
That's hilarious.
And it was crazy. And what ended up happening was like I didn't even go into like any of the galleries. I just lapped.
The whole of.
I just lapped that park for 4 straight hours, like just end to end, like a square.
How big is it?
Big.
Oh, so you literally just did a massive leap.
Yeah, but like 40 times.
That's funny, man.
Bro, it
Psychedelics
was-
are weird like that, aren't they? They can really have a weird effect.
The thing is, like, I think like LSD and acid and stuff's fine because it's like a linear sort of like I know where it's gonna go.
Yeah.
Whereas with this, like I guess it's like organic or whatever.
Yeah.
It just hit me like a truck, and I was not ready. Things were moving and changing, and I was not there for it. Like,
I've only done mushrooms twice. And
Yeah.
I did mushrooms maybe about just over a year ago, actually, in Melbourne. The first time I did it was from friends in Albert Park.
yeah. Oh, nice.
Beautiful day.
Yeah.
Sunshine. We've got the river. We've got the lake. Cities in the background.
So good.
Absolutely stunning. But we have like maybe like 7 or 8 friends, and I'd never done it before. And I was like, "What's this gonna be like?" They're like, "Imagine like a really strong weed." And I'm like, "All right, easy." It's not that.
Who told you that?
Dumb.
That was
dumb. So dumb.
ridiculous.
It was
What?
dumb. And then I was like, "Yeah." Eat. So I gobbled my little mushroom sandwich. Also tastes horrible.
Yeah.
Right? Like, absolutely, like just tastes like dirt.
Yeah.
So and then I had to like drink to swig it down and whatnot. And then before I know it, I had. I wouldn't say it was a dark trip,
Oh, no.
but it wasn't pleasant.
No.
It definitely wasn't like a and the same probably same for you is
Yeah.
that like you kind of like, right, I'm ready for this to be finished now. Come on then. Yeah, time for this to be finished. And you're on a train that you have no way of controlling. It doesn't work like that. It's not like you can like snap out of it, Dan.
No.
It doesn't work. So like for like it must have been 8 to 12 hours. I was just
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, we probably took them at like 2, 3 in the afternoon, and I was still tripping balls.
Mushrooms?
Yeah, mushrooms. And I think for my first time, I must have had a very low tolerance to them. But yeah, I was tripping balls, bro. But it went in waves, right? There was some times where I went like really dark and quiet, and then just was like quite like introspective. And then there's other times where I was very, very laughy and giggly. But then, it was just fucking, I don't know.
I think that's what mushrooms does. Like those waves, like I only ever noticed that with like psilocybin mushroom sort of vibes. Like if you take acid, it's not like that. It's just like a slower increase, and you're just kind of like riding it, and you kind of know where you're at, and it kind of, I mean, if you take a crazy dose, I don't know, but
are the visuals the same, similar kind of visual, or way more trippy on acid and that kind of stuff?
The guy where I bought the truffles from was like, he was like, I was like, oh, is it similar to acid? And he's like, oh, your acid's way stronger. I thought this was way crazier. Like for me, acid is like, you take like half a tab or like a tab or whatever, and then you like go into the city, and I just like sit at the NGV, and I just like appreciate art for like 3 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, I do that like, relatively regularly.
Really?
Yeah, it's like my favorite thing to do. It's like my solo time. It's like my favorite
way.
thing. Yeah, I love
That's
it.
podcast too. We'll do
Yeah.
that.
Oh, dude,
I've never done that before.
Really?
So what's at the NGV then? That's the National Gallery of Victoria.
Yes.
And is it always the same artwork, or are they bringing in new exhibitions?
Exhibitions. Yeah, no. So there's like, I think there's a free section, which is like pretty much the same stuff. They'll have stuff that's been there for years, and some stuff will change up, and but then they have the exhibitions as well. I honestly just go to the free section. If I'm going that regularly, like I'm not spending,
How regular is regular?
like once a month.
Okay, that's not,
Yeah, it's not crazy.
Yeah.
But it's
that
like,
sounds like a nice afternoon.
it's the best.
Really?
It's the best.
No, you don't get stressed or anxious on it at all? And how are you in public? Could you ever get like that kind of social anxiety knowing that, oh my God, everyone else here is sober and I'm tripping?
No, I only ever got that when I smoked weed. Like I'd be like, people can smell me, people can see me, like that.
People know that what, yeah.
People know.
Yeah. It's a weird thing, isn't it?
It's a weird thing. With psychedelics, I haven't found that paranoia, but I have found that I get insanely smiley. Like uncontrollable.
Just really happy.
Like I generally am like quite a happy,
100%.
bubbly person. But like when I take this stuff, it's like
people probably think you're a fucking weirdo.
No, literally, that's more of the issue. So like, I'm on the tram like heading up to the NGV, and I'm just like, don't look up, because I'm literally looking at my like lap, like
just like properly just smiling.
I can't.
That's
stop
so
it.
funny.
That's the one probably like social awkwardness. But
do you do that alone or with people?
I mean, I've done it with friends and stuff in the past, but I do it by myself.
That's cool, man.
It's like my, like, I don't know, it's like my, like, solo thing.
It's almost like a meditation in a weird way.
Yeah.
That sounds a bit corny to say, but it's like kind of solo exhibition that you're going to go on. It sounds quite cool.
It is. I really, like, I love art. Like, I love fine art. Like, I really, like, it's like a big part of my life. And my housemate, Ben, like, ages ago, said this thing where he's like, I think it's important to consume art on a daily basis. Because it's like, we do all these things that are, I don't know, like really systemized, and like, like we go to work and we do these like very objective things throughout our lives, but we don't do anything that's just for being a human. Like art is just, it's something that we produce, like humans make for humans, and that's it. Yeah,
and I guess you would say like this might be the completely wrong way of saying it, but like there's sometimes no meaning behind art. It's just beautiful for what it is.
It's
whereas like if you go to an office job, there's an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah,
you put the numbers.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like it's a very systemized process.
There's a reason, and there's like some like or like I don't know. It's like sterile. Whereas like art and like fine art, and like even if it's listening to music, like even I reckon watching movies, like playing like a video game, I'd count that all as like
all the same. Like it's like a visual.
Yeah, visual. It doesn't even have to be visual. Even if it's like really like just sitting down and like appreciating music, but like appreciating some form of art every day is like good for the soul.
That is good for the soul.
Yeah.
So you try and do that every day, or does he try? He does that every day.
Well, this is just like a conversation that we had, but like what he said like got into my head, and I was like, yeah, like he's right. And then like ever since then, I've like made an active effort to like absorb some sort of art every day. And like one of those practices is like once every few weeks or once every couple months going to the NGV and just cool. Like. So have you ever been to the NGV?
Never been. No. You know what? I'll be honest. Like I would never consider myself an art guy, so I would never have identified with that world. Yeah. But I'm down to do it. That sounds fun.
Interesting.
But you know what I mean? Like it's not that I don't appreciate art. It's just that I've never identified as someone who would go to an art gallery.
Yeah.
Like my friends have said to me, Dan, go on a date, go to an art gallery. And I'm like, I just feel like I'd be an imposter almost.
Yeah, sure.
I feel like people would be like, he doesn't belong here. They just see my big bald head and they're like, that bald head dude doesn't need to be here. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's how I'd kind of, but I'm open to anything for sure. What kind of art's there?
It's mainly just like fine art, but they have everything. They have,
Fine
like,
art being like Mona Lisa type style. Is that what fine art is?
stuff. Like paintings, drawings. There'll be like mixed media, like pottery. There's like textiles.
That's
like,
cool.
and there's a lot of like old stuff. It's all like there's like 19th century, 17th century that like keeps going. It's a lot. It's really cool stuff.
That's really cool.
A lot of modern art. There's like pretty sure there's like a photography area as well. Like. Interesting.
We'll do it.
We'll make something happen. I think you'd appreciate it.
I would really like it.
The thing is, like, I think if anyone judges you for like trying to appreciate art, like they can go fuck themselves.
Yeah, agreed.
Like,
And that's probably like a insecure thing on my behalf, going, oh, I don't belong here. It's like the first person who turns up to a jiu-jitsu class and
Yeah.
they go, oh, I don't belong here. It's a bunch of like men wrestling.
Meatheads.
Meatheads wrestling in a ring.
Yeah.
But then once you probably meet people and get into it, you're like, oh no, it's a big friendly.
It's actually fine.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to go back to India for a second,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
So you're in India for like 6 weeks and you said you left different to what you came back as.
Yeah.
What would you think was like, was it weird being on your own for that long? Because it's weird going away for that long, I imagine, and not having friendship groups or anything to kind of attach to.
Yeah. So it was a unique experience. It was like probably one of the most like pivotal trips I've ever had in my life. Like it was on the back end of, so like for context, like last year, like near the end of the year, there was like a lot of chaos and noise in my life, like relationships ending and like I was made redundant at my full-time job and like
Just craziness.
A couple other things. It just like was too much. And like, that's when my dad was like, I think you should get away for a little bit. And so like when I left, I think I was really sort of lost in my own ego, I guess you can say. Like I was just sort of like so attached to like all these things that I thought were like concrete, and like, this is the way the next like few years is going to look, like in terms of work and career and all that stuff, was just sort of like dismantled and it was like at my feet. And I was like, all right, well, now I don't really know like who I am. I have no assurity of who I am.
Because the foundations below your feet have just been wiped out.
Yeah.
So you're like, right, well, I thought that was me.
I thought these things were like me, and I thought these things were like what the future was going to hold.
Oh, fuck, that's...
And then that's when I met you as well. That's when we and I went for a coffee. Like it was just before I left. So I was in like this really weird, like I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah,
I don't know where I am. And then I went away. And then when I was there, it was pretty intense. Like, far out. I didn't think I was going to talk about the India trip. Yeah, I can talk about the India trip. So I was backpacking the whole time. And I was landed in Goa. And I guess the bulk of the changes kind of came from Goa. And I just became really good friends with like this, all English, by the way. Literally
Really?
all of them English. All backpackers, all English backpackers.
Really?
All of them.
Nice people?
So the best.
Really?
Became friends with like a bunch of them. Became really close friends. And it was like, it kind of, like it had been a long time since I'd made new friends. And to like be in a completely open space and to like force myself to open up and make new friends was like, it was a really good learning experience.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
When you meet brand new people,
Yeah.
I think we always carry this previous idea of who we used to be.
Yeah.
So, for example, all my friends who I grew up with, they think Dan is X. And then in my university friends, they think Dan is thing. But then I moved here and I don't know anyone.
Yeah.
So you almost are free then to be arguably the most true version of yourself a little bit. Like, that's why I started making content and I started making videos. But I'd have never gotten away with that stuff around my old mates. They'd been like, Bennett, what are you doing? Like, stop doing it. And I think sometimes when you meet a whole new group of people, you almost get permission to be completely yourself. Did you feel like that when you were there?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I completely agree. But like, I feel like that speaks to a deeper truth. Like, there's like so many different versions of you everywhere. Like, Alexi sees you differently. I see you differently. Your mom sees you differently. All your friends see you differently. And like, every interaction is like an opportunity for you to reinvent yourself or like, be a version of yourself that you feel the most true.
Yeah, that's like, even when you mentioned then about going to the art gallery, for example, that would not be typically something I do with another group of friends, but I'd be 100% open to going and doing it with you. You're like, that's just a different side of you that you'd never normally let out somewhere. I like that.
Yeah. You can't attach yourself to like any, like, what do you, like, are you Dan the podcaster? Are you Dan the Jiu Jitsu guy? Are you Dan the, like, PT? Are you Dan the guy that moved from England? Are you, like, what, like, which one of these things are you?
Yeah.
You're not like, I think these are all things that you do. These aren't.
Yeah, that's not actually.
It's not you. Like, you're not a
Yeah.
podcaster. You're not you're not a PT. Like, you are, like, yes, you do that.
Yeah, but that's not who you are. Like, that's not the whole assessment of you. Okay. all
Yeah.
right.
And like, what are you? That's the deep
That's
question.
different.
That's the deep
So
question.
when you guys were all in, was everyone on a kind of trying to find themselves trip in Goa?
Well, I think some of them are just like there to party. Some of them are just there to
Is
like.
big party place? I literally have never been to India. So is that big? Is Goa a big party place? Is it very westernized? Is it very rural? Like, what's the actual kind of vibe of the place?
It's like so it's on this western coast of India, like southwestern coast. Wait, I always do the never eat soggy Weet-Bix thing to figure out where the west is. Yeah, western coast. And it's like facing the Arabian Sea, so it's like the wood is like really, really hot, and like it's gorgeous. It's like tropical.
Oh my gosh.
The vibe there is like, it's like India's Ibiza, I think. What's really big there is psytrance. It's the birthplace of psytrance.
Okay.
Have you heard of psytrance? Like,
No.
so it's like frog music basically. That's like the joke. It's like really heavy techno.
Got you.
Really
and,
intense.
and what's the kind of demographic of the place? Very, very mixed cultures there?
Mixed.
Or really? All sorts?
Yeah, mixed.
Oh,
There's
wow.
like a huge Russian community that's there as well, like massive. I think they were like evading the war or something. I'm not too sure what the situation
fair
is,
enough.
but there's like a huge Russian population there.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Big place?
Yeah, pretty big. There's like parts that are like, mostly like people that live there, like
Yeah.
like suburban and
Yeah,
like all that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But like as you get further like into the coast, it's like pretty party vibes.
Small,
and-
like, party towns?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
cool.
Yeah,
And
and
we-
it's gorgeous.
Were you like, how were you getting from like place A to place B? Were you like greyhounding or like busing it, or how were you actually getting from?
Well, I mean, they just have cabs quite easily accessible. There's apps and stuff.
Isn't India massive though? Like where to like?
True, but I stayed mostly in like one wedge.
Got you.
Like
okay.
explored like the southwest.
Got you.
Went to Kerala and stuff. Yeah, no, and like this trains, I went through like a really cheap train, which is a horrible experience,
As
but
in,
it was
like,
fun.
this might be me completely like being stereotypical, but is it like the image with you see on TV when it's like literally people like hanging out to the side of windows?
No,
and-
it wasn't that bad. It was.
Have you seen those?
Yeah, of course. I'm sure they're still around and stuff in like the rural areas. And like my dad has some crazy stories. Like my dad has a story where he's like been on a train and he couldn't get in, so he's like had to hold onto one of the rails outside with his suitcase, and he's like going like as they're like traveling, they're like there's bars that he's passing, and he's just like trying to like stay close to the train to the bar.
But the train is so busy
Yep.
that he just physically
He
can't
couldn't get in.
That's terrifying.
Or what it was, no. I think what happened was he got in, and then they did like a stop, and then I think he like jumped out to like use a restroom or get a snack or something, and then like he wasn't like paying attention, and the train started to move, and the doors had locked, but he needs to get on that train. His stuff's in there, everything's in there, and he needs to move.
Oh no!
So he's just like fuck it, and he's just jumped on.
How old would he have been then?
Like late 20s, I reckon.
There definitely is something to be said. Like when you're in your 20s, like you just don't really.
They don't care.
You don't care. You just kind of make it. You do things like that, and then I look back at stories now when I'm in my early to mid 20s, and I go, "That was dumb." Like,
Yeah.
I do some things. I go, "That was really dumb."
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
My dad's done a lot of dumb stuff, but
Yeah.
he also just, I don't know, he was just that kid who was like, he grew up in like, villagey India, and like, they don't have the same sort of like fear responses that we have.
Yeah, of course. When you grow up, I imagine when they grow up in India, is it very much like this is sound dumb, but like are rules the same thing? Like you could I couldn't just hop onto the side of a train in Melbourne. I'd get fucking flagged down by the police. With those kind of things, is it just like kind of like anything goes?
I don't think it's anything goes, like there are rules and stuff, but I don't think it's nearly as regulated as what it is here.
Yeah, of
like
course.
And I think like back in the day you could probably pay off the cops and do all that
Yeah,
sort
of
of stuff.
course.
I couldn't tell you. This is just like this is a
There's
couple
some
of stories that
stories.
my dad's told me, and I'm just like,
That's
you're
mad.
fucked. Yeah.
That's crazy, man. So did you manage to get any training done when you were in there? Were you doing? Did you do it?
Once.
Really? Jiu-Jitsu? What was that like in India?
It was good. It was at Rain MMA in Bangalore. I went to go see family at one point, so I went and trained there. It was like really far out from where I was staying.
So hot.
It was really hot, but then like to be honest with you, like you get just as hot, like after like 2 rolls. Like it's like it may as well be 50 degrees. It makes no difference.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It ends up kind of being the same thing. And they have like good AC systems and stuff. And it was a really good gym. The level there was really high. They knew of Adele as well, which is crazy.
Did you say?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I have a selfie with her, so I was like, it's nothing.
I teach her everything she needs to know.
Me and my 3-stripe white belt. Teach Adele, yeah.
So how long have you been training jiu-jitsu now then?
So it's been like like a little over 3 years now.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember the first night I actually met you. You might not remember this, but I came to a 6 or 7 o'clock no-gi class.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And I
yeah.
think I walked in and you're like, hey man, how you doing? And I remember thinking, and I mean this in no disrespect, I remember I was a bigger guy, and I remember you going, hey man, you want to roll? And I knew you had your little white, I knew you were a white belt. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm going to fucking run for this thing. I was like, I'm like, dude, you get me better. I'm going to fucking run for you. Within about 2 seconds, I got sweeped. Like, you sweeped me, you had me, and then you had me in like a triangle or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really quickly. And then I remember going, oh, you're so out of your depth. I was so out of my depth. But yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, but I
actually.
think it was when you had a bit more shorter hair though. Did you? Because you didn't. Your hair wasn't always.
No. I've had long hair, but I think when I met you, I had like more of a buzz cut.
Yeah, that was what it was more like.
I was a bit chubbier as well. A lot chubbier.
You've definitely like leaned out a lot. What have you been doing? Just training.
Literally just training. You know, like I think this year I'm like the leanest I've kind of ever been. Like when I started 3 years ago, I was 94 kilos. Roughly.
That's my weight.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, big boy. It's 94 kilos. Like for my height, like
Yeah.
it's yeah. And I rapidly lost the weight, like at the start especially, and then I put it back on slowly again. But this year, yeah, I'm down. Like I like weighed myself at the gym before like we said bye. I was like 72.5.
Wow, you're down 20 kilos. Congrats, man. That's fucking sick, dude.
Literally, there's no like active effort though. Like I just like eat more mindfully, and like I started working at a pub.
At the Mitre, right?
Yeah, at the
alma
Mitre.
mater. Yeah. I used to work there, yeah.
That's crazy.
Small world,
but
right?
Small world.
They're really cool there. They're really,
it's a
really
good pub.
It's a
It's
good
a
pub.
really good pub.
I definitely get the impression it's haunted.
I think it is haunted. Like I think it actually is haunted. Like there's that. Like, did you learn about Connie, like the lady upstairs?
No.
So there's like I don't know if you remember. There's on the stairwell. There's a portrait, like this charcoal drawing of this woman. Her name's Connie, and like from my understanding, I don't actually know the story properly, but I think it was some like broken heart situation, and she like hung herself upstairs in the steakhouse.
No way.
Yeah. So I don't go off there when it's nighttime.
Well, you know what's crazy is that I've closed that place down.
Yeah.
Like when I first moved to Melbourne, I literally was like, right, well, I had a few online clients at the time, and I couldn't PT in person at the time because I didn't have my UK qualification, didn't get like converted over. So I was like, I need money.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I need cash because Melbourne's also not that cheap to live. I was like, so I started working at the Mitre, and I remember I'd close that place out at like, it would close at about 12:30, 1-ish, wouldn't it?
11:30.
Yeah. And then, but by about midnight is when you're still taking all the barrels and
It can bleed into midnight. Yeah.
So then I remember going upstairs and they turned off all the lights, the whole building, and I was walking down. I was like, "This is terrifying. It's so eerie.
It's so eerie.
It's so scary.
Yeah.
Even being down in the cellar, I got really creeped out by because
Yeah.
I've been down in the cellar when the lights go off down there, and that's pretty fucking scary as well.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, you've been down there when the lights are off.
All the lights went off. I remember. I don't know why, but I remember the lights were off down there.
Oh, forget that.
Terrifying.
Oh,
Really,
that
really
sounds horrible.
Yeah. Want to hear a crazy story? So
Yeah.
my grandma, right? So my grandma worked in a pub for pretty much her whole life. So she was like a barmaid pretty much her whole life, and she used to love it. And then she ran a pub, really old school English pub.
Yeah.
And one day, one of the bar managers said to her, she was probably like maybe a bit older than us. She was in her early 30s and whatnot. She's like, "Oh, Carol, can you just go down to the cellar and change one of the taps over from onto the kegs?" She's like, "Yeah, no worries." Now, this would have been a pre-World War One building that they're in that's been converted into a pub. So the pub's probably like over 100 years old now. And she went down there, and she says, in my nan's opinion, she said she saw a ghost walk through the wall and just walk straight through her and then just disappear. And I said, my nan tells that story. So my nan just went white as a ghost, and then she changed the taps, and then she went upstairs, and the guy was like, "What happened?" She went, and then they had a name for it. I can't remember the name. They're like, "I've just seen
The whatever.
the whatever," and everyone was like, "Oh, shut up, shut up." No. Apparently, it walked through the wall, walked like through her, and then just she turned around and it was gone.
Like clear as day.
Like apparently, she said it was like a You ever seen Harry Potter?
Yeah.
When they like the ghosts that kind of like come out of the walls like that.
Yeah.
She said it was like that, but
Kinda
a bit more
smoky, a little bit,
smoky.
yeah.
She creepy, right?
What the fuck?
Yeah. And another story. We're gonna go down a weird ghost rabbit
No,
hole.
it's
now.
fine.
But another thing. So my stepdad runs a car garage, so that they sell like secondhand cars and stuff, and he's really like OCD with his desk.
Yeah.
His desk very like his ruler at the end of the day is like his pen's there, and then every day when he goes, or most days he goes back into his office, his desk's all messed up. And he's like, I didn't leave that like that. So they go back into the CCTV footage that they've got of the office, and then it goes by frame by frame. The desk is clean. Next frame, the desk is messy.
What?
Crazy.
What?
I know. Another one. Sorry, this is the last thing I'll
No,
say.
it's good. Keep going. Yeah,
Another one. So they've got like a little sitting area.
Yeah.
There's no AC. All doors and windows are closed. And this guy was sitting there. Just imagine there's like a newspaper on the table. And the newspaper was open. And then a page just opened up to the top and stood still. It's like someone was reading the paper. Stood in minutes. So the paper's there on the floor. And then on the table, the page opens. It stays upright. And then just closes. And the guy was just like, oh yeah. And they put it on CCTV. So they think there's a ghost there who just like kind of roams the thing and just fucks with people. Weird, right?
Fuck,
yeah, I know. So yeah, I definitely think when I remember hearing about the Mitre being haunted, I was like, I believe it. I believe it.
It's the oldest pub in all of Melbourne. It's the oldest building in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Not just the oldest pub, it's the oldest building in Melbourne.
It's like over 100 years old, right?
Yeah, almost like 200. It's like 180 years old or something.
Have you ever eaten the steak there?
I'm vegetarian.
Oh, of course. Fair enough.
Don't eat meat.
How long have you been vegetarian for?
Raised vegetarian, never eaten meat. Yeah. Don't even eat eggs.
Really? So vegan or vegetarian then?
Veg. I mean, I was vegan for a couple of years, and I'm like, I try and be as like plant-based as I can in the house.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not vegan.
Is there a with growing up as a vegetarian, was there like cultural reasons? Was it just like, hey, family's vegetarian, so you're going to be vegetarian?
It's like a religious thing. So like growing up, my parents were like, my family was like a specific caste of Hinduism, and like oftentimes Hindus are vegetarian. Like if you go to India, like vegetarian food is abundant.
Really?
Abundant. It's because it's like a Hindu thing. Like so many like Hindus and Buddhists and like Jains and a lot of like Sikhs from like northern India and Punjab, like a lot of them vegetarians, or like veg options are like a big deal. Like you have to have veg options essentially everywhere.
Wow.
So like yeah. But yeah, growing up, it was like a religious thing for my family, but also like my parents didn't really teach it from a religious standpoint. They just kind of like enforced it from like an ethical standpoint.
From an animal standpoint.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes sense.
And then like I kind of moved away from the religious side of stuff, just like, you know, personally. And then, but I stayed vegetarian because I just kind of agreed with the ethics of it.
So you've never fish as well?
Yeah.
Never tried anything. And is there ever a part of you that'd be like, oh, I'd like to even try it from a taste standpoint, or are you like?
No, it's not really regarded as like food for me. Like it's like imagine. Do you like dogs? Like, have you ever had dogs?
Yeah, I love dogs.
Imagine you came to Melbourne, like when you came for the first time, and you found out everyone here eats dogs.
Yeah.
Like, everyone eats dogs. It's just like a normal thing. It's a normal part of the cuisine, and like everyone eats it, and they're like, what? You've never had a dog before? And you're like, no. Like, dog's a pet. And then someone says, oh, well, I'll cook you up, like, you know, a tail. Do you want something? You'd probably be like, no.
Yeah, fair enough. There's the cultural thing, the socio-cultural aspect of you goes, I'm good with that. I'm good. Fair. So the same with you with that. It's just like, it's not part of.
It's not at all like and like the smell is quite off-putting as well, and it's just like it's a programming thing, right? Like whatever you're raised with. Like if I was raised with eating it, then I'd be fine with it. But
that's actually very true, probably.
Yeah.
There's definitely something I've noticed as I've got older. I've definitely moved away from certain kinds. I'll be honest with you, I'm a big meat eater.
Yeah, no,
I'm a
big
big gym bro meat eater.
Bro, do you know what I mean? We train at Dominance. You know what I mean? I'm like, I know. I think
Dave's pushing the carnivore diet.
Yeah, he loves it.
He's like, eat steak.
Yeah.
So I definitely have noticed that since I've got older, I've definitely been staying away from certain cuts and making sure that I don't know why that is. I like pork. I don't eat much pork. Like whereas growing up back in the UK, that would have been a really abundant part of our diet. Like we would have eaten pork. I don't eat that really anymore. Yeah. So I think as I'm getting older, I'm starting to prioritize other things. I don't ever know if I could go the full veggie. I don't.
Have you ever done it at all?
I've had vegetarian meals, but yeah, you know what I should probably do? Like I've done like dry July where I don't drink alcohol. I should maybe try and do like.
There's like meat-free Mondays. That's like a pretty popular thing these days.
Yeah, fair enough.
You do stuff like that, but I mean, it depends like why you'd even do.
Yeah. Like, I guess I'd need to get like, say if my blood work was done and they're like, hey, your like cholesterol's really high or something like that, or like your like saturated fat levels are really, really high, then I'd probably be like, right, it's time to rein it back in a little bit. But I might give it a go. I like trying to test myself with things like that.
Yeah.
I bet is the food quite tasty? I imagine you can make some really delicious vegetarian dishes.
Yeah, for sure. Like my mum's an like incredible chef. She's so good. So growing up, I was never like,
oh, this sucks, Mom. Yeah, no, it's like everything's just phenomenal.
Everything's just insane. Like I'm gonna go have dinner with her tonight, and
I've
been looking forward to it for all week.
That's cool, man.
It's gonna be so good.
Where are your mum and dad still together?
Yep.
Yeah, and whereabouts do they live?
Deep in the southeast. I was raised in Hampton Park. Are you familiar with Hampton Park? Have you heard of Cranbourne? Dandenong.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, that's
Craigieburn. Is that what you said?
No, that's no, Cranbourne.
Cranbourne. Okay. Yeah.
Craigieburns north side.
Yeah, yeah.
Cranbourne is southeast, like deep
So
southeast.
Dandenong would be. Is that like 1,000 steps away?
That's Dandenong Ranges. I can see where you're heading. Dandenong Ranges is in the east side.
All right. So
that's
this is my geography sucks, bro. My geography sucks. But very
it's
so deep south. Keep going
deep
south.
southeast. Yeah.
So you would be. Oh man, this is how bad I am. So you would be going not Mornington Peninsula
That way. That way.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah, but you'd have to keep going, and there's a couple exits that you'd have to take to get onto the Mornington. But like, think that sort of if you were going to walk towards Mornington Peninsula from here,
Yeah.
you'd be walking in the general direction of my parents' house.
That makes cool.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Fair enough. So how long until you moved to Melbourne then? So because you obviously grew up there, and then when did you like move to Melbourne?
That's still Melbourne. Like that's all still Melbourne.
But did you move into the city, or you moved to
Yeah.
St Kilda? When did you start? When did you do that?
like 4 years ago? Like I started working, finished school, COVID hit, so I couldn't find any work. So I was just like working in a retail job for like a year, and then at the end of that year, I got a full-time position, and then like that job was near Craigieburn. It was like far north. It was the opposite sides
That's
of
a
Melbourne.
trek. That's a trek.
It was horrible. It was like because the job it started at like 6:30 a.m. So I'd be getting up from my parents' house at like 3:30 every day. It was
tough.
no, it was not possible. It wasn't happening. So yeah, like I moved out from there, lived in Kew for a while. That's when I started at Dominance.
Nice.
So I moved to Kew, and I started at Dominance like purely out of just I'm bored of the gym. Like I'm really bored of the gym. I've been working out like since I was like 15.
Yeah, fair. Like you mean like stereotypical weights and that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And like it's like, don't get me wrong, it was fun at the time, but I think that it got to a point where I'm like,
What am I doing this for?
I just don't really connect to it that much anymore. Like I get it from like a health standpoint, and you want to look good and stuff, but I don't know, I just wasn't really
I'm with you.
I just found myself like yawning between sets, and I'm just like I don't want to.
Yeah, it's like if the time is going to be invested in doing something, you might as well do something you enjoy doing.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
So then you started Dominance.
Then I
What
started
was the
Dominance.
reason behind Jiu Jitsu? Was there like ever like I'm going to learn self defense? I'm going to learn. Cause did you do Muay Thai MMA before that?
No, oh my
you
god,
didn't?
no. Yeah, no. I've only ever done weightlifting, and then I did like a week of jiu-jitsu when I was in like year 12, like year first year uni or something with a friend of mine, and we didn't really even do jiu-jitsu. He just taught me like knee tag at like Carlton Gardens, and
By the way, that's my most hated part of the class. I suck at knee.
sucks.
I suck at knee tag, bro.
What?
I
Really?
suck at it. I can't. I'm too tall. I can't get down there. And then I have to do like the sprawls. Like I just have to do like 10 sprawls in like a minute. I suck at it. I'm so bad.
Yeah, because you're tall, so your knees are easy.
Yeah,
like
I have to like reach down. It's ridiculous.
yeah.
So you're doing that, and then so I can't carry on. Sorry.
No. Yeah, I moved to Kew, and then I think it was because I wanted to learn some sort of self-defense-y situation. I knew through the grapevine that karate was, a bit sus, and I didn't really want to go to taekwondo, and I was like, I know MMA, you kind of need like a base to do MMA, and then I actually decided I'd do Muay Thai. Like that was the original decision, and I like looked up a bunch of gyms, and I did some calls and stuff, and I found. I can't remember where the shift came, but I just remember learning that there was a jiu-jitsu gym nearby, and it was 2 minutes from my house, and it was Dominance. And I was just sheer dumb luck. I was just like, fuck it, like I'll do one day. Let me see. And I have like a conversation with my sister that I have like a screenshot of me being like, oh, I'm gonna go to like my first day, like I'll see how it goes. Like, yeah, and I did one class, and I was like. I came out of the class. Obviously, I got fucking rinsed. Didn't know what I was doing.
It's mad, isn't it?
It's ridiculous.
I do think to those who have never trained jiu-jitsu, you kind of go into this environment going, hey, I'm not I'm an athletic guy or I'm an athletic girl.
Yeah.
I'll be okay. And there's a very humbling moment where you're like, oh, I'm a baby gazelle.
Yeah.
And everyone in here is like a lion. It's
Yes.
like really, really humbling. Yeah.
It's just like, for me, it's like, it felt like magic. Like I literally didn't understand how a person who's smaller and shorter than me could just do whatever the fuck they wanted to do. And I was a bigger boy as well, so I was just like, what is happening?
Yeah,
Where am
cool.
I? And my first person that I ever rolled with was, Liam Foster?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, dude,
I'm sorry.
he was the first person I
Was he was nice. Tell me he was nice.
He did his little foot sweep, and I went flying.
That's 120 kilo, Liam.
Yeah.
Big boy. And a purple belt.
boy.
Probably a
And
blue belt
strong.
back then, I'd imagine.
I think he was a blue belt, but he'd been training for a long time. So he was He's a purple belt now, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Whatever he is. At that
Killer.
point, he may as well have been like a wizard. I don't fucking know. Like,
He did the thing where he...
Yeah, that one.
And you went flying.
Flying. Like, literally, uncontrollably. I didn't even know what happened. I, was on the ground, and I was, seeing stars, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? And then I didn't know how to, I remember I didn't know how to, approach him. I'm like, what do I do here?
It's actually mad, isn't it? Especially when you're starting off with someone who is way big. Like, him's a big boy. It's like, I have that when I go against big guys. I'm like, how do I even engage with this monster of a human? Yeah. Like, it's definitely... So then, so after the first class, did you get the bug? Or you're like, that was okay? Or did you... Because I got the bug real quick. Did you?
Real quick. First class, I left the class. I was drenched in sweat, got fucking rinsed. And then I was, sitting there, and I was like, cool. Quit the gym that day, signed up to Dominance. It's been 3 years now. And
was that at the Abbott's facility, or was that were there?
Always here. Always Abbotsford, yeah.
That's sick, man.
And then I moved to we had to leave the queue, and then I moved to St Kilda, and I'm literally 3 minutes from Absolute, but I'm like, I'm still just gonna go Abbotsford. It's a 35-minute drive,
So that's commitment. You know what? That's what, a real good testament to how much of a good community it is when you're willing to go 35 minutes in the opposite direction when you've got another world-class gym right there. Absolute's a world-class gym.
Absolute is an amazing gym. Yeah,
have you ever trained there?
I haven't, but my understanding is that they're pro class is obviously insanely high level.
Yeah.
But I just found that Dominance's intro classes were really good.
Yeah.
For someone at my level who's I'm never gonna go pro, that's not gonna happen. I'm 26. It was pretty much exactly what I wanted.
How many times have you competed now?
3-4 times, I think.
How's that gone?
It's gone relatively well. I've lost once, which is
what, lost one match, or you lost one tournament? How would you mean when you said you lost once?
One match.
Yeah, okay. That's good. So in 3 tournaments, you've lost one match?
Yeah.
That's
good. It was, I don't know.
Better than me.
I just play a heavy guard game. I don't really know what else to do.
Do you pull real quick?
In comps, especially the last comp, I did Grappling Industries before I went to Europe.
Yeah.
Oh, no, before I went to India.
Yeah.
Around the time you and I met,
yeah.
I did Grappling Industries, and I pulled guard every single time. Because I knew, I was like, I'm going to gas out. And, the comp nerves is going to rinse me of my energy.
Yeah.
I know, obviously you want to wrestle and stuff, but I'm going to be fucked by the end of the last round, so I'm
Grappling Industries is round robin, so you're gonna have 5 matches or 4 matches or however many, no matter what. So if you zonk yourself in the first one, it makes no sense to do that.
Not at all.
You got to be a bit more tactical.
Exactly. And so I was just it was I'm sorry, and I just put my bum on the ground. I'm like,
do you have to engage to pull?
You
might have to have.
I think Grappling Industries I had to engage to pull.
Yeah, fair enough.
Which is fine. You just get wrist control and sit down, whatever. Grappling Industries was good. It was
you land some nasty triangles, dude.
Yeah,
you're a triangle guy.
The triangle guy. Yeah, I got 3 in Grappling Industries.
Your guards are whenever you and I roll together, I almost sigh to myself. When you catch eyes with someone across the room, yeah, I do this. I sigh to myself. I'm like, fuck's sake, this is gonna fucking suck. But I think it's because you're so fast. So it's I'm probably a bigger guy than you. So I feel typically my game is to try and control, slow, and then move up you, get into some kind of mount or something but I have to be so careful of your inversions and your guard, and then you're going to matrix and you're fucking throwing up leg attacks and shit. Triangles have flown out of our, it's terrifying. I'm I have to really approach it really
Well, it's because I have to play according to how you play.
If
you're obviously going to be 20 times stronger than I am. You're a bigger guy. You'll be able to if you control my wrist, if you get body lock, I'm not going to move. You have full control. So I'm not going to outmuscle you. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So what else am I going to do? It has to be complex technique or complex technique. Lower level white belt talking about complex technique. Shut the fuck up. Jesus Christ.
I know what a single leg X is.
Yeah, I know what a single leg X is. Ashi Ragami.
That's hilarious. But you are right that you can't play to the strategy of the person in front of you, right?
So the only thing I have, not on you, but the only thing I can actually try and do is move quickly.
Yeah, and it works. It fucking works.
Because you're larger, it's gonna be hard for you to snap around and
fair enough.
But when you trap me. There's no way.
There's definitely times when I've finally passed, and then I'm like, oh, I passed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm fucking going. And then I'll sit there for a minute. You'll hear me breathing Well, that's the worst part of going with Elliot sometimes. Elliot's is fucking crazy good white belt who's about
I've never seen him tired. I don't think I've ever seen him panting, ever.
him and I had a really good roll the other day where for 2.5, 3 minutes he couldn't pass my guard.
Oh, really?
And I was like, oh baby, I've got him.
Yeah.
I was like, here we go. And then I was in a guard position, and then he saw me take a big, and then he did his knee cut thing, and then within 10 seconds, he was like, he said to me afterwards, he's like, the second I saw you take a big, deeper breath, I was like, I've got him.
Yeah.
Which is fucked. It's so fucked. This is how sad it was. I had to, he about 2 or 3 weeks ago, he fucked me up so badly. Like, in like 5 minutes, he had like tapped me like 4 or 5 times. I drove home in silence. There was no car radio. I just drove home in silence. Walked in, turned the shower and sat down in the shower. I sat down and sat there. I was like, literally. I was like, that 19-year-old just did that 19-year-old guy who's 25 kilos lighter than me.
Yeah.
Which is the annoying thing because it's like 7 months ago. I probably could have done. I would have been pretty competitive with him, which is fucked. Yeah.
I mean, he's winning double gold at blue belt comps like
at Pan Pacifics, which is the best level I believe in Australia.
in Australia.
Yeah, which is insane. Like, fair enough. It makes me feel a bit. When he does that, I'm like, all right, fair enough.
Yeah, like he's just that good. Like it is. Like,
yeah.
it makes sense. But it's also like I think it also is just like a testament to good jiu-jitsu. Like like,
how effective it
how
is.
effective it is.
Yeah, of course.
Like it's.
Do you find that in a self-defense situation? It's an interesting one. So we had a friend, quite scary actually. One of my friends this morning, she had a bit of an issue on Chapel Street with a junkie, kind of got her involved. Like it was a little bit aggressive or whatnot, right? Oh, no. And she was a bit shaken up by it. Okay. And I've often thought like, how effective is jiu-jitsu in a self-defense situation? Because I'm not going to stand and punch. I'm not really a big boxer. I'm not a Muay Thai guy. But I've often thought about if the worst happens, touch wood, this never happens. Yeah. But if it ever does get out, I've always been like, my God, like, I'm not going to pull guard. Yeah. So I've always wondered, like, I don't even know how effective jiu-jitsu would be from a self-defense perspective. What do you think?
I would get fucking rinsed in a street fight. What the fuck am I gonna do? Like, enter K guard? Like, I'm gonna get like absolutely like, it depends on your game. Like, my jiu-jitsu is not street lethal at all. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, fuck no. There's like, I'd die. But anyone else, I feel like I've heard some interesting like theories here, and like I've seen some cool videos online as well. On like Reddit, you can find like jiu-jitsu videos, like people using jiu-jitsu on the street, and it seems pretty effective. Like there's that video of like I think Matt Serra in Vegas somewhere. I think
I never saw the takedown. I just saw him on top of the guy.
Yeah, but like to be honest with you, you can probably take someone down pretty easily. Like if you think about it, if someone who doesn't know what they're doing, like you'll take them down.
Big drunk, like
literally. I feel like if I was like someone who's in class, if you're like paying attention and they're like, they have their staggered stance and their hands are close and they're like, trying to get collar grips and they're like really paying attention to you and you can still sweep them. Someone who's not paying attention, it's nothing.
That's true.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you fucked me up. You did that earlier to me, actually.
You're
good at shooting for the ankle. Like that's how I think.
Oh, my ankle picks. Yeah,
you're really good at it.
It's because I have ridiculously long limbs. Like
you do, like you have long,
very long arms. Like my wingspan's fucking huge.
That is a massive wingspan. Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's mad.
Yeah, I don't know why.
How tall are you?
Like 5'10".
So that's way tall. Your wingspan's way taller than you.
Yeah, I can like nearly touch my fucking knees. Bro. It's bizarre. I have a weird build. Yeah, no, literally, like I'm just limp.
You do look like a basketballer. Actually, when you do that, you actually kind of look like a basketballer.
Yeah, no one can tell until I raise my arms. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I know. I don't know what it is, but like that's why.
That makes a lot of sense.
Because I can keep distance, and then I can just like dive for the.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dave called me chocolate lightning once, and I was like,
do you like that or not?
I'm still trying to figure out if I like it or not. Yeah, I think I liked it in the moment.
I think to be fair, I'm at that weird point where like if any higher belt even acknowledges my existence, I'm like, I'm on first name terms with a higher belt. Yeah. I'm friends with them.
Yeah. Every now and then Mikey will be like, hey man, and he'll like give me a fist bump, and I'm like, hey bro.
I'm such a loser. I'm exactly the same. Like I see like a higher belt, I'm like, hey man, how's your day going? Good? We're gonna go wash your clothes. Do you want me to wash your gear for you? Like, I'm a fucking loser, man. It's so sad.
It's crazy.
Do you think then, like, if in a self-defense situation, you think if someone in class, if you can sweep someone in class who's trying to stop you from sweeping them,
someone who's like paying attention to your footwork and all that stuff, and you can still sweep him, I feel like some fucking drunk idiot who's like not paying attention is just like trying to fucking roughhouse you could probably do something. And like I've heard arm drags are really effective in street fights. Yeah.
Really?
Arm drags. So like I remember Sammy, you know Sammy, yeah?
Yeah.
Before he left, I remember like a while ago we had a conversation and he said arm drag to a headbutt. He was like, it's super effective. He's like, I think he said he'd done it before, like wrist control, like back of the tricep, pull, and then like the
you
top
pull them in,
into their nose. He's literally straight into their nose. And he's like, yeah, it's super effective. I'm like, oh, okay, well,
Well, hopefully we never have to use that.
hopefully. But if you do, it'd be kind of cool. Yeah, bang. And then I've seen
I have a headache from that though. I'm such a pussy.
it's their Norris though.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm such a pussy though. I'd be like, oh man, that's so. You know, I'm such a pussy. I was rolling earlier, and this is why I almost bring this subject up about the self-defense thing. I'm like, I'm flowing, I'm in guard, I'm playing, and then Alexi tried to pass me early, and he came across, and he tried to I think he tried to go for like almost like a collar grip or whatever,
Yeah.
and he just pretty much punched me straight in the face.
Yeah.
Oh, it didn't mean so. It was like a forearm straight to nose.
Yeah.
And I was like, stop.
Yeah. Well, to the Norris though.
Yeah,
it's
my eyes
fair,
just
'cause
went
your
wa-
eyes.
Yeah, but then I was thinking about that. I was like, oh, you are a pussy. I was like, if there's any kind of self-defense situation, you can't. If someone punches you in the nose, you're like, hey, stop, please.
Give me a second.
Guys, sorry, let me just. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Try not to cry.
So you've been doing jiu-jitsu now for 3 years,
Yeah.
right? And are you on track for blue? Not in December. For would it be next June?
I have no idea.
Do you care about that kind of stuff, or are you just like, hey, I turn up and train?
I think I used to care a lot. I think when I first started, the first 2 years of jiu-jitsu, like I went really hard. And
Yeah.
I was training like 5-6 days a week, and I was like, fuck, like I really want to, make this everything. But I think I was kind of relying on it in a bit of an unhealthy way.
Yeah.
I think I was like unsatisfied with work and like other stuff, and like
That's like the one bucket of your life. If I overload this bucket,
Yeah.
it makes up for a few other buckets.
Exactly. And like that's obviously, that's putting too much pressure on jiu-jitsu and like my relationship with it, and it's kind of unhealthy because it's like you're putting if I'm injured, then I'm fucked. Like I'm just sat there like I have nothing.
Yeah, once it gets taken away
Once
from
it
you,
gets taken away.
because you can't train, then you're
Yeah.
like when you're in a fucking dark space.
Exactly. So because of that, I think at that time I was like, yeah, blue belt, I'm gonna try to compete a lot. Like I want to go to that, do as much as I can with it. But now I think, especially this year, I have a much more balanced lifestyle, like, between work and my relationship and my family and like travel and like I kind of know, like, I'm not leaning on any one thing too much. And because of that, I'm training jiu-jitsu less, but I have a much more healthy relationship towards it, a much more sustainable one, where it's like I gain a lot of I just gain a lot from it, but not to a point where I'm like,
Does it
You know
become?
what I mean? Like-
yeah, no. Does it become something that you enjoy to do and don't have to do?
exactly.
I put pressure on myself, going, "Oh, I have to go to jiu-jitsu tonight." And if sometimes if you say to yourself, "I have to go," well then
It kills it.
yeah, like I definitely have that because I'm in that. To be honest with you, I'm probably in the what you said before is where
Yeah.
I do it like 5-6 times a week at the moment, and I've put so much pressure on it that if I don't do it, I'm like,
You feel shit about yourself.
you fucking idiot! Like, what did you miss?
Yeah.
Whereas if you're in a much healthier, by the sounds of it, you've mastered it where you've just got balance across all the different
Yeah.
areas of your life.
Yeah,
That's
it's-
good.
It's just sheer dumb luck, but it's kind of fallen into place really like nicely. And because of that, like I know her, like I'm like I said, I'm like 26, 3-stripe white belt. Like I'm not going to the highest level.
We're not going to ADCC.
No, it's
Yeah.
not. Like, it's not happening.
Yeah.
All right. So like, if that's the case, then like there's no need for me to rush into any belt or anything, and especially because I do no gi. I don't really do the gi. Like I don't really play in the gi.
Have you ever? I've never even seen you in a gi.
Yeah, the first like year I played in the gi a lot. Like
Yeah.
it was like 50-50. I actually think I preferred the gi at the start.
Yeah.
And then I think I realized that I just feel like I enjoy myself more in no gi.
Yeah.
And like Dave's always like, everyone says do the gi, but like I will one day. I'll get back into it. But for now, I'm just really enjoying no gi.
What's your relationship like with Dave?
Yeah, really good. Like he's I remember when I first started, I thought he was so intimidating. Like I was so like anxious to like ask him a question. Did you feel the same way?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think. Well, you know what I would say. I think with Dave, he's very easy to build a relationship with, whereas Max, the black belt Max, he's a hard nut to crack. Like I feel like with Dave, I can go. I think after me being there for 3 to 6 months, he'd be on first name terms with him,
Yeah.
and then I'd ask him a question in class, and before you know it, he'd be like, "How's your day going?" By the end of it, we're just chatting about
just
it.
chatting.
And it's really good. And he's an incredible coach. I've never seen a coach in any of my sporting domains take so much interest
Yes.
into people on them. Like, I've worked with like football coaches all around the world. I've worked with like PTs and strength coaches. I've never seen a coach take so much interest in people. Brand new people who he may never even see again. He'd be like, hey, do this, like that. And then the guy's there from like till late at night. He's still staying after class and then do privates. Like, you can't teach that.
No.
It's so cool, man.
He's genuinely like all the like there's so many videos out there that say like, oh, these are the red flags of a jiu-jitsu gym. It's like Dave's seen all of them and has acknowledged them and been like, I'm never doing any of those things. Like he is like the biggest green flag in terms of a coach.
Yeah, I
like
agree.
he like stays back after class and talks to all the students. He like answers all of your questions without any sort of like weird, like I don't have time for this or like
Yeah, well, that's a stupid question. What a stupid thing to ask.
He'll always like come forward and be like, all right, show me, and then like walk us through it. And he also like is just so good. Like he's just like, it's not like he's just like a coach that's a good coach. He's also like he has one of the best guards in the entire country. Like,
well, I think we stayed after class a few weeks ago now, and you were actually explaining to me like the level of it, because you were like, Dan, he's been to ADCC in the quarters. He's gone against Marcelo Garcia, the best arguably to ever do it. Yeah. And then we were speaking about some of the other jiu-jitsu gyms around, and you were like, dude, this place, like we've somehow, I think I've got very lucky that we've somehow stumbled across this gym.
Stumbled across it.
And it's completely by luck.
Yeah, completely by luck. People don't realize like the level at Dominance, and like so many of us just started because it's like, oh, like, it's for me, it was literally proximity. Like it was just the close. It was 2 minutes from my house.
Agreed.
That's the only reason I started. It's crazy. Like I feel so like fortunate to like have started at Dominance, because I'm like, we started at the highest sort of level.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
Available.
It's cool.
And yeah, Dave's like crazy. His wrestling's insane as well.
I've never seen it.
I've only heard stories, which I kind of like.
Yeah,
I like that. I've only heard.
It's a mythical creature.
It's a mythical
Dave
creature.
the wrestler.
Yeah. I heard that he like took down Saeed, and I was like, what the fuck, really? Wow. Yeah.
He, by the way, Saeed, one of the scariest looking people I've ever seen in my life.
In the planet.
And also one of the nicest people.
Yeah.
He sat before class. He was so friendly and so nice to me. But if you see him, he's got like a jungle Amazonian knife tattooed on there, an AK-47 there, brass knuckles there, scars on. I'm like, you're a terrifying human, like an actual terrifying human.
He's genuinely
a spider web on his knee. I'm not like the first time I saw him, I'm like, oh, like I'm actually scared of you.
I'm actually very, very afraid.
Very afraid of you. Yeah.
I don't know how he's done it, and it's all like authentic. He's not putting anything on.
No,
he's that's just him.
Yeah, 100%.
He's just hard. Like he's just a tough fucking guy.
But then also the nicest guy in the world. When he's doing the barbecue, he comes up to me. He's like, "Hey man, you want some meat?" And he was like throwing me like a kebab. I'm like, "Dude, you're the fucking nicest guy ever, man."
He's so sweet.
You know what I think I love about? I was speaking to my friend about this the other day. So I've come from different sporting backgrounds. I've had football. I've played football for 25 years. I've done gym and all that kind of stuff. What I love about jiu-jitsu more than anything is that I feel like it's a global community where you can just drop into gym. So you're in India, right? You all have this weird passion about this grappling sport.
Yeah.
So you're in India, in Bangalore, right? Yeah. You don't know anyone there, I imagine.
No.
So you walk in, you have a common interest of, hey, this is Adele. You have a picture of her. Like, and they probably, I'm assuming, they opened you up with open arms. Like, yeah, come on in.
Yeah, they were so nice. They were so hospitable. And like, I'd imagine it would be the exact same thing. Like, Dave would do the exact same thing here. Like that's just jiu-jitsu.
That's the sport, right?
And which I love. Like there's like just like the slap and bump, and I love how that's like a universal thing everywhere in the world where you train jiu-jitsu. Like everyone knows it.
I agreed.
It's just like this cool connecting thing. I just love it. And like like I don't need to know anyone. Like I could have not, like so many people that I've rolled with in Bangalore, like pretty much all of them, I hadn't said a single word to before we rolled. I'm just like, hey man, what's your name? Hey man, what's your name? Sweet. And then now we're going to be in incredibly close contact for the next like 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah. It is a weird thing, isn't it? That's a really good point actually. It's like you don't know these people, but you're about to be very close. You're about to be like, let's just, you smell each other, like you literally like, we can like sweat on each other. Yeah. It's a very bit, and afterwards when you're all knackered and everyone's exhausted, that's when like the camaraderie starts coming out a bit more. Yeah. It's cool, man. It's a really cool thing.
You like break through so many like social barriers, I think.
I agree. I've often said that if I was to get dropped into a new country and didn't know anyone, I'd be going straight to a jiu-jitsu gym to meet people. I had friends and like, oh Dan, but you, like, I've lived literally all around the world now, and they're like, Dan, it's so easy for you. You can just make friends. I'm like, yeah. I moved here, didn't know anyone. Yeah. It was sport that actually got me friends, and then now it'd be, I'd go to a jiu-jitsu gym, and I can imagine within 3 to 5. I reckon if you drop me in a jiu-jitsu gym anywhere around the world, within about a week, I'd have friends.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, like
100%. I trained when I was in, I became friends with people when I trained in India, and then I trained again when I went to like UK, Europe this time, and I like got coffees and lunch with guys that I met after class, and then I have all their Instagrams, and like We're all like, it's sick.
And you know what was cool about that? Like, say in 10 years' time, right?
I only trained in the gym in the UK twice, and I became friends with like a bunch of
That's
them. Literally
fucking
went and
sick.
got dinner with one of them.
That's cool,
Insane.
man.
Yeah.
And you know what's cool about that? Is like, say in 10 years' time, you're in America and you're just going to do a local comp. Or you're in Europe and you're going to do a local comp. Like, there's a chance you see one of those people. You're like, fuck, bro, how you doing?
I've seen
and
you
you guys
yeah.
might be like brown belts then or something. And then that's just like a cool, like,
That's crazy.
yeah, it's cool, man. It's cool.
It's weird because people who don't know that this community exists just don't understand how like it's deep it is.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
A lot of my friends think it's quite weird. They don't get it. And the only way I can explain it to them, I'm just like they have their Muay Thai, they have their CrossFit or whatever they do. I'm just like, Jiu-Jitsu for me is just my thing where I go and make friends and I wrestle people. And it's so much fun.
It's so like it's transcended the whole like fitness aspects for me. Like it's not. I don't care about the self-defense part. I don't care about the fitness part. I don't care about any of that. It's genuinely just the best one of the best aspects of my life. Like in terms of just mental health, in terms of being with friends.
Do you ever have bad days with your mental health at all?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Who doesn't? But like, I think I used to be a lot worse, which is when I was leaning on jiu-jitsu a lot. But like this year, I've like learnt to regulate myself in a lot more of a healthy way through like meditation, through breath work, through like just sort of shifts in perspective on like, you know, what I value and like, you know, my goals and stuff. Anyway, because of that, I don't get massive like emotional dips. Like I'm generally running on like a pretty high sort
That's
of
good, man. That's
frequency.
really, really good.
But if I am having a low day, which is, you know, unavoidable, it's just like, you know, we're complex human beings and we're going to experience all the emotions all the time. I find that jiu-jitsu is probably the number one thing that will like fix that like that. Like it'll completely like there'll be a full vibrational shift in the day after a class.
I 1,000,000% agree with you.
Yeah.
You make a good point there. Like we are very, very complex, and I think sometimes I almost, if I'm having a really bad day and I'm in a bit of a grey mood and I'm just like fuck this, fuck everyone. Like I have those moods.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah.
I sometimes feel guilty about it, and I think sometimes I'm like, why are you feeling grumpy, or why are you feeling like this? Like, and you can sometimes get in your head of like, why are you feeling this way? Sometimes,
Yeah.
just like a double-edged sword. It's like you feel anxious or you feel shitty or whatever.
And then you feel shitty about feeling shitty.
You feel shitty about feeling shitty, and then I do think that it's like having that acceptance of going, you're a human being.
Yeah.
You're not meant to be fucking sunshine and rainbows 24/7, mate. Like, yeah. But I completely agree with you. Like, for me, exactly that. It's like get on the mats and go see some people, go train hard, get a sweat on, and then I'll typically leave going, and the cobwebs have shifted a bit. Put some good music on, and then I'm like, all right, we're back, baby, we're back.
The highest I'll ever feel, like in terms of just like I'm just fucking buzzing, and I'm like I feel insane, so like elated, is like after like an intense training day, lunch class is done. I bought my coconut water. I'm in the car and the sun's shining and I'm listening to like Afro beats or something in the car and I'm literally, I'm smiling ear to ear by myself in the car, feeling like a fucking.
You and I have that parallel exact same thing.
Oh, really?
Mine's country music.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yours Afro beats.
Yeah.
But I'm exactly the same. I've got my water, my coconut water, whatever it is. My windows are down. I'm blaring. I'm singing. I'm blaring tunes. And then I'm like,
good.
And there's genuinely moments like that. I go, I've won life.
Yeah. No.
I've like life can't get better than this.
It's insane how good it is.
Yeah.
But I think what you said before was really interesting as well about like feeling shit about feeling shit. I think the issue is like when we feel down about something, we like we identify with that feeling completely. Like instead of being like, oh, you know, like instead of saying today in this moment I feel sad, you say I am sad.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
Instead of saying I am feeling sad today, you say I am sad. I am this thing. And then you feel shit about it because I'm like, why am I this thing? But then if you take that step away and you realize that you're, you know, just a human being with complex emotions and like the goal is never the pursuit of happiness, it's peace of mind. And like you're going to feel all these different emotions no matter what. It's out of your control. You don't identify with any of them. You just say, I'm Dan and today I'm feeling a bit sad. I'm Dan. And even if it's like really happy, like I'm Dan and today I'm feeling happy.
Yeah, okay. So you almost like say that feelings are just a transient thing that's going to come and go.
Yeah, of course. Like naturally, right? Like, but instead of like, it's easy for us to just sit there and like latch onto a feeling and be like, this is what I am. Like if I'm angry, I'm angry. I am angry.
Yeah.
Like you're not angry, you're experiencing anger in that moment.
which is as a human, you're going to experience all these
All of
different,
them.
of course.
And if anything, it's kind of a beautiful thing for you to experience all of them. It's like your brain is so powerful, and you're able to, be influenced by so many different things, and you can, all these things happen. Like you're gonna feel all of those emotions, and you're kind of, you're meant to feel those emotions. It's healthy.
And I also think as well is that the highs won't be as high without the lows.
Absolutely.
It seems like it's like when you're leaving jiu-jitsu or whatever you're doing, you've got your coconut water, your endorphins have hit, your sunshine, your Afro boots is on. Like that is such an intense endorphin response.
It
It's
is.
just like I am so feeling so happy and grateful right now.
Yeah.
But you almost don't have that high without knowing what the opposite side of that coin is like. Because we've all been there, right? Where I'm just like, just like whatever it is, there's a grey mood on us today, and we're just, this sucks, everything sucks. But yeah, it's like you have to have the light with the dark a little bit.
You have to. And that's when you have to I think that's when you learn to appreciate the dark as well. Because when there's those dips come, instead of being like this, this is all encompassing, you kind of see it as like this is an opportunity for me to come out of this and feel insane.
Yeah, it's almost like, hey, I know there's a dip right now, but we know
I know what's coming.
We know that there's a top of the hill on the other side of it. Yeah, we're going to get ourselves out of this valley, and then I like that. It's cool.
It's always like that. And yeah, you just don't have to identify with any of the thoughts. And I get like dips in my mood and stuff as well all the time.
Completely agree, mate. I completely 100% agree.
Yeah.
So from the little dip you had last year where you were like, right, I've been, made redundant. I think you're going for a bit of a breakup. Your dad's like, maybe it's time you go do the thing.
Get away for a little bit, yeah.
You've also then created your own creative agency, I believe.
Yes.
That's what I love about you. You're multifaceted, mate.
Yeah.
I love it. I love a multifaceted person who's got a
Yeah.
bunch of different strings to their bow, and I
Yeah.
absolutely love that. So tell me about that. Like, what's going on with that?
Yeah, well, it's called Salt Reach. It's a design agency. So I worked in my industry, in advertising and in design and stuff for the last few years, 4 or 5 years, and I've been kind of doing it freelance all throughout uni and even before that, to be honest. But working in an agency really helped understand what the internal mechanics look like. And I really enjoy design. I really enjoy creative work, but I hated full-time work. I couldn't physically do it. I did it for 4 or 5 years after school, and I was just I can't. Especially when I was made redundant.
Yeah.
I remember feeling really, really oh fuck, what's this gonna look like now? But also this immense relief. It's yeah, which was a lot of the things, a lot of kind of shitty things happened, but it was my brain was telling me I should feel sad, but I couldn't help but feel relieved about all of it.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing with work, and I was just fuck, this huge sigh of relief, and I don't ever want to go back to this, because I remember looking up LinkedIn jobs and stuff and dreading applying to more work, because jumping on LinkedIn sounded like the fucking worst thing in the entire world to me at that point. I was like, I cannot be asked. I'm I hate pretending. I don't. Writing a cover letter being please, these are the reasons I'm good. Can you please hire me?
I get it.
Fuck that. I hate it. I know some people love it. I know some people fiend off of it, but it's just not me.
I think that's quite nice that you know that about yourself as well. How many people do that for fucking 30 years and then they have that realization at 55, what am I doing?
I was sitting at the when I was working full time, one of my colleagues next to me, I remember working, and I stretched my back, and I was at the desk, and I sighed. I was like, ah. And then she made a joke. She was like, ha ha ha, only 40 more years to go. And I was like,
kill me, absolutely kill me.
I froze. I remember that day so vividly, because it sent me down the existential.
Yeah, that's 100. That's when the spiral starts happening.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, I can't do this for 40 more years. I don't even think I can do this for another 2 years. Fuck this. I hate this.
Wow.
But I love creative work, and I love working with people, and I love design, and I love, coming up with ideas, and I love building stuff. I love working and making something out of nothing, and doing it collaboratively as well. That's my passion. It's what
sick.
I want to do forever, ideally. And when I was away in India, this is why India was really big as well, because I ended up meeting a bunch of freelancers who were all just on they had their sunnies on, and they're working on their laptop in the hostel, and they were going to the beach afterwards, and I became friends with them. But they're all doing creative work, and they're copywriters or photographers,
and they were doing that through Fiverr or Upwork, those kind of websites.
Well, all of them were different. Some of them had their own website, some of them had Fiverr. I met 3 people. One of them, Hannah specifically, she had, I think at the time, she had just started she had been freelance for a little bit, and she had just landed Nikon as a client, and she was feeling so well, and she was like working every morning, and she was out with us, and we were all going out, and it was just like this really beautiful thing. And I was like, fuck, I want that. Like, I can do that. Like, I can 100% do that. And then after having learnt what the insides of an agency, how that looks, I figured I could kind of do that, and I really strip down, cut all the fat, cut all the overheads, and have like a really minimalist version of an agency. And I don't really like, it kind of works because someone at my scale can, I can't really charge, tens of thousands of dollars like a full-size agency can. But like, I don't really want to work with big brands. I like working with people. I like working with decision makers, and I like working with, like people who care about the business, like their family-run business, like mom and pop shops and like barber shops and pottery studios and anyone.
And I imagine as well, because of the level you're working at as well, you get to work specifically on the jobs you want to do.
Exactly.
If you've got a big, massive agency, they'll be asking, or a big, massive company, they'll be asking you to do everything.
And
before you know it, this passion thing that you actually really love doing has become now an actual overwhelming, stressful job where you're actually, the worst thing I think is waking up dreading looking at your phone or looking at your emails. That's the worst feeling in the world, right? Because you feel like you're a prisoner to emails or some guy that you're working with.
Yes.
And that's not what you want. So I think the ability to kind of go down a creative route and then be passionate and find it at a level that's not overwhelming.
Exactly.
You've won the game.
That's kind of it. Like, I mean, still it's very early stages, still building it. But like, I think like the overarching idea is that I bring like the industry level creative, because I know how to do that, and bring it to small business. Because big agencies are just not.
They're not designed.
They're just not. Big agencies are kind of out of the question for like a small barbershop down the line, or like a tobacconist that's up there. Like, they're not going to go to an agency to do their marketing. Like, who's going to afford that? Like, it's not possible. But if it's like, a small subscription once a month, and they get a bunch of posts and they get some content there, then like,
that's for them a massive headache taken away, and you can work on it, and then you can kind of collaboratively work with them at the same time.
That's all I want. That's exactly what it is.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. Right, mate. So if people want to work with you, if people want to follow you online, if people want to train with you, what have you got moving forward? If people want to, get in contact with you, where can they go?
My agency is called Salt Reach, so saltreach.com.au. If you want to connect with me, I'm _Shravan Rao. That's kind of it. And then I train at Dominance MMA.
Come roll with us, guys.
Yeah, come roll with us. Yeah. We'll take it easy on you, Dom.
All right, dude. Thank you so much for coming. Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, it was so good. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
That was good,
Thank you.